Shocking allegations against Will Smith, a violinist who was a finalist on America's Got Talent and performed in Smith's band, is accusing the star of predatory behavior.
A violinist is suing Will Smith, claiming retaliation after he alleges that he was fired for reporting sexual harassment while on tour with Smith.
Is this man, whose name is Brian King Joseph, and he's a violinist and a former contestant on America's Got Talent.
What is your name?
My name is Brian King Joseph. I'm from Los Angeles and I play violin.
The internet is on fire again, and this time Will Smith's name is at the center of it. A tour violinist is making serious allegations, and alleged leaked footage has sent social media into full meltdown mode. But before the rumors run wild, let's break down what's actually being claimed.
Well, Jen, new information coming in overnight. A violinist who was touring with Will Smith last year is now suing him over retaliation allegations. So here's what we know. According to the lawsuit, the violinist, Brian King Joseph, says last March, while in Las Vegas for a performance, he returned to his hotel room to find random items.
Will Smith is once again dominating headlines, but not for a movie premiere, chart-topping music, or a red carpet appearance. In late December 2025, a civil lawsuit filed in Los Angeles County Superior Court brought the Oscar-winning actor and entertainer back into the center of public controversy. The lawsuit was filed by professional violinist Brian King Joseph, a musician who previously performed during Smith's Based on a True Story tour. The legal complaint alleges sexual harassment, retaliation, and wrongful termination, and since becoming public,
including a beer bottle, HIV medication, and a note that said, "Brian, I'll be back later, just us." Now, the lawsuit says the plaintiff feared that an unknown individual would soon return to his room to engage in sexual acts with plaintiff.
It has fueled widespread discussion across entertainment media, news outlets, and social platforms. While online narratives have escalated quickly, the case itself remains in its early legal stages, and no court has ruled on the claims. Brian King Joseph is not an unknown figure in the entertainment world. He is a classically trained violinist who gained national recognition after appearing on America's Got Talent in 2018, where his performances earned significant attention. According to publicly reported information, Joseph was hired by Will Smith's team in late 2024 to perform during select appearances and later joined Smith's international tour, supporting his first solo music album in nearly 2 decades. At the time, the opportunity was viewed as a major career move, placing Joseph on stages around the world and aligning him with one of Hollywood's most recognizable stars. The lawsuit alleges that during the course of the tour, Joseph experienced conduct that he later described as inappropriate and distressing.
He says once he reported the incident to Smith's team, he was fired and told he was lying about what happened. And just coming in, a statement from Will Smith's attorney saying, "Mr. Joseph's allegations concerning my client are false, baseless, and reckless."
The central incident outlined in the complaint is said to have occurred in March 2025, while the tour was in Las Vegas. According to Joseph, he returned to his hotel room, which had been arranged by the tour, and discovered signs that someone had entered the room without his consent. He claims that unfamiliar items were present, including personal belongings and a bottle of prescription medication bearing another person's name. The complaint also references a handwritten note left in the room, which Joseph interpreted as unsettling and suggestive. Joseph alleges that the circumstances surrounding the hotel room incident made him feel unsafe and led him to believe he was the target of unwanted sexual attention. The lawsuit characterizes this experience as part of a broader pattern of conduct that Joseph claims amounted to sexual harassment. It is important to emphasize that these descriptions come directly from the civil complaint. and represent allegations, not findings of fact. No judge or jury has ruled on whether the events occurred as described, and no independent authority has publicly confirmed the details outlined in the lawsuit. Following the incident, Joseph states that he reported what he found to hotel security and local law enforcement. He also claims to have notified members of the tour's management team. According to the lawsuit, rather than being supported or protected, Joseph alleges that his concerns were dismissed.
They are categorically denied, and we will use all legal means available to address these claims and to ensure that the truth is brought to light.
And that he was accused of fabricating the situation. The complaint further claims that shortly after reporting the incident, Joseph was removed from the tour. He argues that this decision amounted to retaliation for speaking up and constituted wrongful termination. Legally, the lawsuit brings forward three main claims: sexual harassment, retaliation, and wrongful termination. In civil court, sexual harassment claims typically involve allegations of unwanted conduct of a sexual nature.
After reporting the incident to police, he alleges a representative for Smith accused him of lying and fired him. Smith denies these allegations.
That affects a person's employment or creates a hostile work environment. Retaliation claims focus on whether an employee suffered adverse consequences for reporting or opposing alleged misconduct. Wrongful termination claims argue that an employee was fired for unlawful reasons, rather than legitimate job-related causes. Joseph's lawsuit seeks financial damages for emotional distress, lost income, and harm to his professional reputation.
While the violinist was on tour with Will Smith for Smith's global tour for his latest album based on a true story, and according to the complaint, there was this intrusion at his Las Vegas hotel room. He came back to his hotel, he says.
Will Smith and the other defendants named in the lawsuit have strongly denied the allegations. Through legal representatives, Smith's side has described the claims as false and without merit. As of now, Smith himself has not issued a detailed personal statement addressing the specifics of the lawsuit, though his legal team's denial has been widely reported. In civil cases involving public figures, it is common for responses to be handled primarily through attorneys rather than direct public commentary.
But he claims that he was then shamed by Will Smith's management team, accused of lying, and he says he was then fired, and then shortly after he was fired, they said they were going in a different direction, but then they ended up hiring another violinist, so he is...
At this stage, it is crucial to clarify what this case is and what it is not. This is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal case. No criminal charges have been filed against Will Smith in connection with these allegations, and there has been no announcement of a criminal investigation. A civil lawsuit does not determine guilt. It is a legal mechanism through which one party asks a court to evaluate claims and, if appropriate, award damages. The burden of proof and legal standards differ significantly from those in criminal proceedings.
Now suing for, among other things, emotional distress and economic loss. Kate.
And Liz, how are Smith and his attorney responding?
Well, they're adamantly denying all of these claims.
Since news of the lawsuit became public, online reaction has been swift and intense. Social media platforms have amplified the story, with commentary ranging from cautious discussion to outright speculation. Some posts and videos have referenced alleged leaked footage or implied confirmed wrongdoing. However, no reputable news organization has verified the existence of any leaked footage related to the case, and no such material has been presented in court filings. Major outlets covering the story have focused on the contents of the lawsuit and the official responses.
Smith's attorney has released a statement. We can read it here. It says, Mr. Joseph's allegations concerning my client are false, baseless, and reckless. They are categorically denied, and we will use all legal means available to address these claims and to assure that the truth is brought to light.
While warning readers not to treat allegations as established facts, the rapid spread of unverified claims highlights a recurring issue in high-profile legal cases involving celebrities. When a well-known name is attached to a lawsuit, public interest can quickly outpace verified information. Headlines, clips, and commentary often circulate long before evidence is examined in a courtroom. This can create a distorted perception of events, where allegations are mistaken for conclusions, and speculation is confused with reporting.
He also appeared in America's Got Talent back in 2013 and has worked with a variety of big artists. Now, Brian here in this lawsuit is claiming that in November of 2024, Will Smith asked him to come over to his house.
From a legal standpoint, the case is still in its preliminary phase. After a lawsuit is filed, defendants typically respond with formal answers or motions challenging the claims. The process may then move into discovery, during which both sides can request documents, conduct depositions, and gather evidence. This phase can take months or longer, particularly in complex cases involving multiple parties and high public visibility. Many civil cases are resolved through settlements before ever reaching trial.
Show in San Diego before being invited to play on the rest of Will Smith's tour.
Earlier this year, I was hired to be a performer on a major tour with somebody who is huge in the industry.
Though there has been no public indication that settlement discussions are currently underway. If the case proceeds to trial, a judge or jury would evaluate testimony, documents, and other evidence before reaching a decision. Until that point, none of the allegations can be considered proven. Courts operate on evidence and legal standards, not public opinion or online narratives. Regardless of how widely a story spreads, the outcome depends entirely on what can be demonstrated within the legal system.
So Will Smith and Brian cultivated a close relationship thereafter, with the lawsuit even stating that Will Smith at one point told Brian, "You and I have such a special connection that I don't have with anyone else."
The lawsuit arrives at a time when Will Smith's public image remains closely scrutinized following earlier controversies unrelated to this case. While those past events have shaped public perception, they are legally irrelevant to the current lawsuit. Each case must be judged on its own facts, evidence, and legal arguments. Courts do not base decisions on a person's reputation, career history, or prior media attention.
Now in this lawsuit, Brian has alleged that Will Smith's team booked all of the hotels and their rooms in advance, according to him. So a little bit before the show starts, everybody checks into the hotel and everything seems fine at first, but the real kicker is when Brian returned to his hotel room, there were signs in his mind of a break-in.
For Brian King Joseph, the lawsuit represents an attempt to seek accountability and compensation through the legal system. For Will Smith, it represents a serious allegation that his legal team has categorically denied. For the public, it presents a reminder of how allegations, denial, and uncertainty coexist in unresolved legal disputes. At this moment, the only confirmed facts are that a lawsuit has been filed, specific claims have been made, and those claims are being contested.
Because Brian King Joseph is claiming that he was terminated for reporting the assault, and even though Tim Miller told him part of the reason for the termination was because the tour was, quote, moving in a different direction.
As the case moves forward, additional information may become available through court filings, motions, or official statements. Until then, responsible reporting requires restraint and accuracy. Allegations should be identified clearly as allegations, denials should be acknowledged, and speculation should be avoided. High-profile cases often generate intense emotional reactions, but legal outcomes are determined by evidence, not viral momentum.
And so the suit says the facts of this case strongly suggest that Will Smith was deliberately grooming and priming Mr. Joseph for further sexual exploitation. The sequence of events, Smith's prior statements to the plaintiff, and the circumstances of the hotel intrusion all point to a pattern of predatory behavior rather than an isolated incident.
Well, the situation involving Will Smith and Brian King Joseph is an ongoing civil legal dispute, not a resolved case. It involves serious claims that deserve careful examination, as well as firm denials that must be considered equally. No verdict has been reached, no criminal charges have been filed, and no definitive conclusions can yet be drawn.
I'm not saying the Will Smith thing is this big. What I am saying, though, is that it will be scrutinized similarly because Will Smith is a huge figure. Will Smith has a super high Q rating, super recognizable, super famous. genuinely and generally beloved. Of course, after the Grammy slap.
As with any legal matter, the final outcome will depend on the judicial process, and until that process runs its course, the story remains unfinished.